I never thought the night of my downfall would also mark the night of my salvation. The air was heavy with rain as I stumbled down the alley, clutching my ribs where the gang's boots had left their cruel imprint. They had followed me for weeks, the kind of men who fed on weakness, who smelled desperation like sharks taste blood. Ever since I lost my job at the observatory, I had been drifting through life, barely surviving in the city's forgotten corners, a ghost among neon lights and shattered bottles. But this time they wanted more than to scare me. "We warned you, nerd," the leader sneered, his shadow cutting across the flickering lamplight. "Stick your nose in cosmic business again, and you won't crawl away." Cosmic business. That's what they called my obsession. The truth was, I had been monitoring strange signals from deep space, messages woven into bursts of radio waves. I thought no one cared about my discoveries, but apparently someone did, and they didn't want me speaking of it. When the first punch came, I crumpled. The second sent me spinning, my mind filled with fragments of light and memory, calculations of star maps, the alien frequencies I'd written down, the idea that maybe, just maybe, someone was listening to me out there. And then the sky tore open. A deafening crack split the night as lightning poured downward, but it wasn't lightning. It was a ship, small but glowing, descending in a halo of violet fire. The gang froze, their bravado draining away. The craft didn't land so much as fold space around itself, blossoming open like a metal flower. She emerged, tall, armored in silver plates that shimmered like liquid. Her presence bent reality. Her hair flowed like threads of molten copper, and her eyes glowed with a luminous azure, both fierce and strangely tender. The gang leader cursed. "What the hell is?" She raised her hand, and the air itself responded. Invisible force hurled the men against the alley walls, pinning them like insects in glass. Her gaze then shifted to me. My breath caught. "You are injured," she said, her voice resonant yet soft, vibrating in my bones. "I have come." I should have been terrified, but instead I felt an inexplicable calm. Because deep down, in some irrational corner of my heart, I had been waiting for her. Her name was Kalara of the Veari Dominion, a warrior sworn protector, and, if her words could be trusted, my bonded partner. She explained it as she carried me aboard her craft. The gang fled into the night, stumbling in terror, forgotten in the brilliance of what unfolded. The ship's interior hummed with gentle energy, walls alive with shifting constellations, responding to her touch. "You broadcasted the frequencies," she told me, as glowing panels stitched my wounds with alien light. "You sent the call without knowing. It was a summons." "I didn't summon anyone," I protested weakly, though the warmth of healing seeped into me, numbing my pain. "I was just listening." Kalara tilted her head. "Across the void, resonance matters more than intent. The bonds of my people form not through chance but through signal, through alignment of spirit. You and I, our frequencies matched. And so I came." The words settled into me like gravity itself. Sounded insane. Yet as I met her gaze, I felt an undeniable recognition, as though I'd known her forever. In the days that followed, I learned more. She stayed, not only to guard me from the threats that lurked but to teach me of her world. The Veari were not conquerors, but guardians of cosmic balance, moving silently between star systems where instability threatened harmony. For them, partnership was sacred. Each warrior bonded to one soul across the cosmos, their lives entwined. At first, I resisted the idea. I was nobody, an outcast, a failed astronomer clinging to scraps of knowledge. Why would an alien warrior, radiant and powerful, be bound to me? But Kalara dismissed my doubts. Strength is not only in battle. You saw the patterns when others ignored them. You heard the voice of the stars. That is why you called me. Her presence transformed my life. We moved through the city side by side, her cloaking device shielding her true form from human eyes. To strangers, she appeared as a striking woman with unusual eyes and a regal bearing. To me, she was everything: protector, teacher, companion. Yet danger simmered beneath the surface. The gang that attacked me had not acted alone. They were pawns of something larger, a clandestine human faction that knew of the signals, who feared what alien contact would mean for their control. One evening, as Kaylara and I returned from the edge of the city, black vans screeched into our path. Men in armored suits emerged, wielding weapons not of earthly design. "They have touched forbidden technology," Kaylara murmured, her hand brushing mine. "Be ready." The ambush exploded into violence. Bolts of plasma cut through the air, searing pavement. Kaylara moved like a storm, her blades shimmering into existence from light itself, deflecting fire, striking with lethal precision. But the men were prepared. They carried disruptors tuned to her energy. I realized with horror, they had targeted her because of me. My transmissions, my foolish curiosity, had exposed her. As chaos raged, instinct took over. I seized one of the discarded devices, fumbling with alien controls. Somehow, the patterns made sense, the same frequencies I had once charted in secret notebooks. I adjusted the resonance, sending a pulse that cascaded outward. The disruptors shorted, their carriers stunned. Kaylara dispatched the rest swiftly, her breathing ragged but her eyes blazing with pride. "You see," she said, gripping my shoulders. "This is why we are bound. You fight not with blades, but with understanding. Together we are whole." That night, as the city smoldered with unanswered questions and shadowy forces regrouped, I realized the truth. I was no longer alone, no longer the broken man the world had trampled. With Kaylara I had purpose. And love. Yes, it grew between us, inevitable, undeniable. At first, it was glances that lingered too long, silences that carried weight. Then, when she removed her armor one quiet evening, revealing not a warrior but a woman, vulnerable in her own way, I understood. She pressed her forehead to mine, a gesture of bonding among her people. "Our lives," she whispered, "are now one frequency, ending." The war against those who sought to harm us escalated quickly. The faction, calling themselves the Ascendancy, believed humanity must remain isolated, that alien contact threatened their grip on power. They painted Kaylara as an invader, me as a traitor. But we fought back, not just with weapons but with truth. Using her ship's technology, I broadcasted evidence of the Ascendancy's lies, their stolen alien devices, their secret experiments. The signals spread across networks, impossible to erase. The world began to awaken. Of course, exposure did not end the battle. The Ascendancy struck harder, desperate to silence us. One final confrontation awaited, in the ruins of an abandoned satellite array where my journey had first begun. They came with an army, metal drones whirring like swarms, soldiers armed with stolen plasma rifles. Kaylara stood tall, her armor gleaming in the dying sun, while I calibrated the ancient dishes to amplify her ship's power. "Once I trigger this," I told her, "the signal will pulse across the planet. Humanity will know the truth. They can't stop it."